What's up, guys? So I'm trying to get completely fired up. I ran out of coffee, so I'm just going to have to do with what I have. And I already am a little bit fired up because I went to the gym just a little bit ago or whatnot. But I want to talk about basically bench pressing or, like for me, dead benching after doing like a shoulder press or overhead press or whatever you want to call it for basically an incredible chest pump and really being able to feel your chest, okay? This might not be ideal for somebody that's only bench pressing once a week or whatnot, but I'm benching, a couple times a week or maybe more. Sometimes I might even press every day. I mean, sometimes it doesn't really matter. I just like to go with how I'm feeling. And I know some people maybe are just going for strength, but I do believe that for some people, I believe that the chest is still an important thing in pressing. A lot of people are just under the assumption nowadays, a lot of powerlifters just talk about it's all triceps or whatnot, okay? But for me, I was never really able to feel much of my chest when I was bench pressing or whatnot. But today, I got back to my overhead pressing, which I believe I probably screwed up my strength. It seemed to have went down a little bit, and I don't know if that's because of the dead benching I did yesterday, or if I was a little tired, or, it's just I don't know how I expected to get stronger on it when I really wasn't doing it, and then when I'd go do it, I would fail reps or whatever, but that's besides the point. So, I basically got back to the overhead pressing, and then after I did overhead pressing, I went to the dead bench, and I could not believe the chest pump that I had. It was just crazy. And so, and a lot of people talk about, feeling the muscles being engaged, which, but if you're doing the movement and you can't feel your chest, and I don't know how you're really going to engage it. Yeah, obviously it is engaging, probably no matter what. But, so I moved to the, like I said before, after the overhead press, I moved to the dead benching. And I believe that if you're basically pre-exhausting your shoulder muscles and your triceps or whatever, because in the overhead press, it's, you're using a lot of your shoulders and, some triceps or whatnot, but especially I believe for me, because I go with a narrower grip on the overhead press, so I believe there's a lot more triceps than I thought, and so also it does hit your chest and, you can feel it in your upper chest, but from then moving on after that, going to the, I believe this would work for a bench press, but I'm just saying I did a dead bench. It's then you're really forced to use a lot of your chest, and I just could not believe how incredible the pump was. So, it's an interesting thing. And also, I wasn't really that as weak as I thought I would be from going from overhead pressing to bench pressing. It's kind of an interesting thing because I thought that I would be, I would just be completely worn out, but I was almost I don't know, possibly, maybe even stronger than I was when I started fresh before just with the dead bench, although, I started with lower weight. But I'm just saying for the amount of sets and reps, I mean, I don't know that it really made that much of a difference. So I'm just giving this little, tip because some people I know are, and also I've been listening to Dan Green for a while, and he says that he believes a big key to basically bench pressing is to get basically just jacked, okay? And so I don't know, if you're feeling more of your chest and your chest grows bigger, I mean, I believe that will help you. And it's just kind of nice to be able to feel the muscles that you think that you're working anyways. And so I just wanted to give this tip just because maybe it's something that nobody else has ever tried. And maybe if you're always going heavy on the bench press, like I am completely guilty of, I always try to go heavy, which I don't know if I should do, but I'm so anxious, then it allows you to basically possibly slightly work on, a little bit lower weight, which might not be as hard on you. Although I do believe that in my experience, overhead press is more taxing, at least on me, than bench pressing heavy. I don't know what it is, but I think it's because your core and back. It's just I believe, I don't know, maybe that's not true actually, because I do think about the bench press and if I go really heavy, sometimes my back will get sore, but I don't know. It just seems to me the overhead press is more taxing for me. Okay, so if you start with the overhead press and then basically any shoulder movement, and then you go to basically, a flat press. Okay, I believe that, I mean, I haven't really been following Kino Body for that long, but I know he's incredibly strong, and he hit a 225 bench press for, I believe, 27 and a half reps, and I was watching his video the other day, and he was doing incline presses before he went to the flat press, so it's sort of the same thing. I don't know if he does that all the time. I'm sure he probably switches it up, but it's just interesting, and just, I'm not quite sure I ever would have thought about basically doing an overhead press movement before I went to a bench, okay? Or an incline press before I went to a bench. But it just goes to show you that there's all sorts of basically variations, and that for someone like me that has done a lot of benching in the past and never really got that much of a pump, okay, it might have a little bit to do with the fact that it's a dead bench. For some reason, I feel it in my chest a little bit more, but who knows? But I'm just saying it's kind of interesting because maybe you're already basically a tricep or shoulder dominant lifter, and then you start really feeling your chest and working your chest more. Or maybe you're a chest dominant lifter, but you decide to basically do shoulder presses on one of your days before you do benching and kind of work more on your shoulders and triceps, okay? Because a lot of people have completely abandoned saying a lot of people are so completely worried about their shoulders and bench pressing, and so and they think that that isn't really that big of a deal, and so it almost like sometimes becomes basically like a weakness. And I don't think that at least for me, I don't want to have weak shoulders when bench pressing. That's like I'm not really worried about getting injured or whatnot, but it just seems like maybe even like basically sort of like injury prevention or whatnot. And I know that I was following Alpha Destiny for a while, or I still am. I love his channel. And he was saying that talking about fixing your shoulder pain with doing overhead presses. And a lot of people thought that maybe think that's completely ridiculous, but it does make sense. Basically strengthening the muscle that's weak. And some people might say it's a tendons or ligaments or whatnot. Okay, I don't know about all that. Physical or sport or physical therapy stuff. Okay, I don't know about all that stuff, but I do know that I had wrist problems and I strengthened my forearms and wrists and it got better. So, I believe that it's something had to do with the muscle and like I said, I don't know about any. I have a little bit of knowledge, but I'm not like basically an expert on that. I just do what feels good for me. And the main point of this video is just to share about the incredible basically pump and chest activation when you do basically, or for me today, after I did shoulder pressing first and then went to basically a chest pressing variation. But anyways, maybe you could give this a try and see. And I would love to know if anybody else has the same the same basically thing happen to them. But thanks for watching the video, and let me know if you like it and subscribe for more content. Thanks.